Hi dear crypto investors, the days from October 19th to 25th seem to be the beginning of a new stage for the whole crypto market. Curiously, the US Securities and Exchange Commission acted as a catalyst of optimism this time. Interestingly, it has happened twice in the last 7 days. The main driving force of the rally in the crypto market is expectations that the launch of a spot Bitcoin ETF is around the corner. This popular investment product enables investors to gain access to cryptocurrency without actual buying of digital assets. We can judge a high degree of anxiety in the crypto community on the market response to the fake news on October 16th. We told you about it in our previous video. At that time, the chart of the flagship cryptocurrency spiked and quickly dropped to its previous levels. Still, the turbulence stage kicked off. Volatility of digital assets is set to grow as long as the Securities and Exchange Commission delays its approval of applications for crypto ETFs. Experts reckon that such a financial instrument could be launched in January 2024. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has surged by 25% in anticipation of this approval. American investors played a special role in this. The fact that a significant part of the gain accumulates during trading hours in the US. By the way, investments in stablecoins, that's digital currencies with fiat collateral, have also increased significantly. Demand for tokens had boosted last week before Bitcoin spiked above the level of $30,000. Experts estimate there are roughly 440 million crypto holders in the world. More than half of them, that is almost 260 million, live in Asia. Only 54 million crypto owners account for North America. At the same time, the purchasing power of American traders and firms is way higher. When Bitcoin ETFs roll out in the US, the crypto industry will enjoy the flood of investments. This scenario is certainly bullish for the number one cryptocurrency. Remarkably, Bitcoin launched the fastest one-week jump since June on the back of speculations about the growing likelihood of the spot Bitcoin ETF in the US. The price leapt by nearly 11%. The situation has been getting more exciting since Monday. First, Bitcoin topped the level of $31,000 and then clicked into gear in confidence. In a few minutes, the price surpassed the round resistance level of $32,000, $33,000, $34,000 and finally $35,000. As a result, on October 24th, the crypto had its fastest single-day rally in more than a year and logged a 14% increase. For the week from October 19th to 25th, the main cryptocurrency passed the range from 28,222 to 35,105. Though Bitcoin consolidated a bit low at about 34,700 on Wednesday night, technical indicators signaled the bullish trend. Let me remind you about the news that caught investors off guard in the middle of the last week. The market was thrilled about launching the first in the US spot Bitcoin ETF. Since that fake news, two of the events have happened. On Friday, October 21st, the Securities and Exchange Commission withdrew from the lawsuit against Ripple Labs. Besides, the regulator dropped all previously brought charges against the company's management. The market interpreted this step as a capitulation by the regulator. Most cryptocurrencies responded to the news with a sharp jump. The second time digital assets rose after the media reported the appearance of an unusual ticker. It was listed as a company trading on the Nasdaq exchange. It was precisely the spot Bitcoin ETF of the iShares Bitcoin Trust. However, as soon as investors spotted this ticker, it disappeared. 2 hours later, it showed up again, this time in the column of instruments not available for buying. Nevertheless, the markets took the whole situation as a signal that the instrument would soon be approved by the American regulator. In this context, VIX, known as the Greed and Fear Index, shot up to 72 points, the highest mark since November 2021. You're probably aware that the values from 50 to 74 signal greed. The higher the score is, the more confident are investors about Bitcoin prospects. Ether, the native token of the Ethereum blockchain, quickly followed suit and also rallied. Still, its one-week growth looks modest, nearly 15%. Their price increased from 1,546 to 1,850 in the last 7 days. By the way, as the crypto market has been gaining momentum, trading activity is also on the rise. For example, on the Ethereum network, the number of blockchain entries increased so much that average daily fees dropped to very low values. Now the transaction fees have fallen to a tenth of the peaks recorded in May this year. Moreover, historical values may have decreased due to the onset of the crypto winter, which reduced the demand for block space. The chart of Ripple suggests a crypto spring. The token found a few excuses for growth last week. First, on October 19th, the Securities and Exchange Commission submitted a letter of request to the court. It indicated a deadline of November 9th. For the 3 weeks, the regulator and Ripple Labs should have agreed on the schedule for hearings so that each party could assert its position. A few hours later, Ripple spiked by more than 8% to 53 cents. Then, the token entered a quiet stage of consolidation. On Tuesday, October 24th, the regulator received a response to its request, in which the judge approved the selected date of November 9th, but with one very significant amendment. It's rather an ultimatum that prevents the regulator from delaying the matter any longer. The response reads that if the parties do not come to the common denominator on the dates, the schedule will be determined by the court. Hence, the matter will be settled in the nearest months. In turn, the Ripple tested the high of 0.585. Amid the flood of optimism. Later on, like other crypto, the token stalled its rapid growth and went into consolidation. One of the main reasons behind the decline in cryptocurrencies on Wednesday was the advance of the US dollar. In light of downbeat corporate reports, fears about the health and of the top global economy resurfaced on Wall Street. Eventually, yields of U.S. Treasuries went up. In parallel, the U.S. dollar strengthened to its one-week highs at around 105.6. Last Thursday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said that interest rates would be kept at elevated levels for longer than planned. This hawkish rhetoric is said to weigh on risk assets, in particular cryptocurrencies. To sum up, the crypto market has been regaining optimism week after week. The events are unfolding at fast pace. The most important thing is to keep your finger on the pulse of market developments. Your feedback is appreciated. Welcome to ask any questions. Our market review is over. See you in a week on November 2nd. Don't miss it.